All right. All right. Test, test. Okay. I haven't practiced. That was awful. All right. Good morning. Hello. Yes, and welcome to yet another episode of Red Stone Lapis Lazuli. It is I, your host, Pogo Kiddo. Ah. All right. Let's see if I can do the switcheroo without crashing. It happened. It worked before. It worked before. It did not work this time. For some reason, it won't. I guess while I'm recording, it won't happen. But when I'm not recording, then it's okay. It's maybe it's something in the video card or video driver. I don't know, but we'll find out. Or no, we won't. Who knows? It's not like killing me. Ding. You know it is authentic. There we go. Okay. Welcome. Yes. Hello. Hi. Hello there. Ding. Yes, this is the this is where I am. Jeez Louise, I've got like awful frame rates. Maybe just for me, and OBS is okay. I don't know. But yeah, I created a home, a big home, and made a rail line. Got some new people living in here, and what I did also was I covered the beach, and I made it so that I could grow crops on top of the land here. So I will. The next step will be to create housing for farmers to move in and farm. And then I also turned this into an island. This used to be connected, and I made the canal. I made the canal, so it is now, instead of a peninsula, it's a giant, well, it's a river. It's an island. It's a long island. What? Yeah, I've never been to Long Island. Long Island, New York. New York. York. Never been, never been. Joyousy? Yeah. Kind of weird, I guess, how like certain ethnic groups like settled with like one another to create enclaves, quote quote, enclaves. Like I heard it said that like Minnesota has a lot of Swedish immigrants. And New Jersey, that's a lot of Italian immigrants. That's where they settled. And so on and so forth. And the Black Belt is where a lot of African Americans, Black Americans settled. So, yeah. Okay. I built a rail line to more easily transport the people, the villagers whom I save. None of them are stolen from their villages. None are coerced. It's all like I don't steal them from another place. I don't breed them into captivity. I don't do any of that stuff. It's Minecraft after all, and I can do what I want. Yeah. I was going to use the fancy AMD technology but it doesn't work in windowed mode, and I need the windows in order to do the show. I'm so slow, man. Oh my goodness. That's why I recommend you watch this stream at double speed. It sounds so much more coherent. No joke, no joke. It's so slow in the first person, in real time. See, and that's the thing. That's what makes Donald Trump so good at what he does. Because his technique is so fast in real time that the real-time listener, audience, has a hard time processing what's going on. So that's why Donald's cons work in real time, because it happens faster than the human brain can process it. Only when you can stop it only if you record it and play it back can you show that what he's doing is a con. If you try to do it in real time, it's too fast. You can't do it. That's why it works. That's why it uses the shortcomings of human reasoning in order to like bypass it and run a program, a con. Donald Trump. So I went diving in the water because I have the gear. And I was swimming through flooded caves when I came across this thing here. Well, not this thing, but this this structure. A structure I came across. And I did not know what to do. But since I had to swim through caves in order to find it, I would not, if I died there, I would never be able to find it again. So I just dug a oh, does it turn? It turns. Does it turn? Yeah, it turns this way though. Sorry, I'm playing Minecraft. I'm playing Minecraft when I'm supposed to be telling you about the world news going on and all the stuff happening in the world that maybe like you don't know about, which is why I'm telling you. And then I'm not making up because it's being reported in mainstream media. You see? Yeah, this place here. Like, what the hell's going on with this? Right? Like, look at these bricks. What is this structure? I didn't build it. Like, look at this place. I didn't make it. And it comes to like this bedroom. And if you go out the door, there's a bunch of stuff going on. Like, get lost in the maze. Man, this is like hard to see. Alright. More reasonable. Alright, so yeah, I found this place. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? And then stuff like this happens, right? I don't know, like, if it's always gonna happen like this or what. Like, does it reset every, like, minute? It's like a mini game inside Minecraft. And then it gives me a key. It just pops out a key. Like, what's going on here? And there's just a bunch of stuff like that, right? And then I guess you just go up through the temple or the structure to find more of those things. Like there's one right there, it looks like. Like I don't even know. So like there's this one right here, right? And this is the new mob, the new skeleton. And then this will poop out something. Pop it out. Oh wait, did one guy fall down? But yeah, like there's just levels of this. I don't really care, right? And then what this separate room, like what's this? It's like the treasure room or something. Oh my, what? And then this is the other new mob. And the shots don't really hurt you. Like, oh then, yeah, see, and then like a key pops out. And then why is this water going? Oh, so I guess the things can activate redstone from far away. Oh, interesting. Okay. And then, yeah, then you use your keys here. The keys you get to get this gear, but it's like random, I guess. But to get the good stuff, you need to drink a potion. That's what I read. Okay. There. And I guess that's the treasure room, and the rest of it's all the stuff. Like, yeah, so it's a pretty neat little labyrinth structure that just generates. Oh, see, and now that place is gonna pop up a treasure. Yep, it gave me a potato. Potatoes. Okay. Like, look at all this stuff. Leave me alone. Okay, ta-da! And then, yeah, there's more stuff over there, but for now, and then, what is that? I don't know. I just want to get out of here. Ta-da! All right, there. All right, so next time I want to explore that, I can. But that's the new things I found, right? In terms of Minecraft, that's the new content. The new content. What's been going on in the world? Well, Israel is continuing its genocide of the Palestinian people in Gaza, and settlers have formed mobs to attack villages in the West Bank, because guess what? The same thing that the Israelis are doing to Gaza, they want to do to the West Bank. They want to drive out all the people and take over the land, which is totally wrong. So, like, the Harris has exploded upon the scene like a rock star, and it has wrecked the Trump campaign's strategy. They have no strategy. They have no idea how to handle it. They can't handle it. What is this stuff? I'm trying to sort it and I'm like, it doesn't make sense. There's too much confusion. Okay, it's making sense here. All right, great. Let's switch to slides, right? I'm not doing the whole narrative thing very good right now. It's just not flowing. Like, what am I going to talk about? Yeah, Israeli-Palestine. Like, we got to figure out, Harris has got to figure out a strategy that's better than what Biden did. Because Biden basically just allowed for the genocide to continue. He provided cover. Is the genocide official U.S. policy? Because, like, it contradicts other official U.S. policy. It's U.S. policy to have a two-state solution, but official Israeli policy is to have a one-state solution. So why are we providing arms to Israel to effectuate the one-state solution when the stated goal of the stated policy of the United States is a two-state solution? Why is that happening? Well, Biden answered that question. Why is it happening? Because Biden is a Zionist. He said so on television. Like, I want to make sure I'm not lying here. So Biden is a Zion. There it goes.
I get criticized for having said a long time ago, you need not be a Jew to be a Zionist. I'm a Zionist. Were there no Israel, there's not a Jew in the world to be safe.
So that's Joe Biden. He just said that Joe Biden is a Zionist. So we know why Joe Biden is providing arms to Israel. We know why. Because Joe Biden agrees with the settler colonial idea of Zionists. That's why he's okay with the genocide. So, but dude, like, gave up his presidency for Zionism. Now Harris, like, she's got to make some kind of change there. The status quo cannot continue. It cannot continue this way. Because what's happening is Bibi is creating facts on the ground. Facts on the ground. Facts on the ground are effectuated policy. Things that are actually happening. Regardless of your posturing, regardless of your intent, regardless of your policies, this facts on the ground is what's actually happening. So, Bibi Netanyahu is creating facts on the ground. He's creating a reality independent of stated policy goals. Policies don't matter. What matter are facts on the ground. And the facts on the ground, in this case, indicate Israel is annexing. Well, if it's enacting genocide, and it's enacting genocide, and it's being assisted by the United States. So, if that's the thing that killed Biden's presidency, why would Harris follow in the same footsteps? What incentive does Harris have to follow in the same footsteps? That's what I mean. I think Harris could be a transformational president. Like, transformational. Joe Biden was pretty good. But he was stuck in the old form. Like, Bibi Netanyahu is his enemy. Bibi Netanyahu wants to create a dictatorship, an ethno-state. And the United States, its destiny is to be a multiracial democracy. Those two are not compatible. Ethno-state and multiracial democracy, not compatible. So Biden basically teamed up with his enemy. And his enemy destroyed him. It's like the frog and the scorpion. And Biden's like, sure, scorpion, I'll take you across the river. And then while they're going across the river, so okay, the story, if you don't know. The story of the scorpion and the frog goes that, like, there's a scorpion on this bank, this side of the river. And the scorpion, and then there's a frog, a big frog, who's swimming in the water. And the scorpion from the bank says, "Oh, frog, oh, poor me, I need to get across the river. I have to get across the river. Like, could you please let me ride on you so we can, and you can take me across the river." And the frog in the water, like, totally safe and everything, is like, yeah, sure. Like, because, like, rationally, the frog, the scorpion wouldn't do anything to the frog because the frog is the one taking the scorpion across the river. So the frog comes by the scorpion and says, "Okay, scorpion, I would give you a ride across the river. To be a nice person, I'll give you a ride, scorpion." So the scorpion hops on the frog, and the frog starts swimming across the river. Well, it gets about halfway across, and then the scorpion stings the frog. What? Yes, the scorpion stings the frog, and the frog starts to like drown, like can't swim anymore because it's been stung, and they're gonna like die in the water. And the frog is like incredulous, saying, "How could you do this, scorpion? We're both going to die. Like, how could you do this?" And the scorpion says, "I can't help it. It's my nature." So Bibi Netanyahu is a fascist, is an ethno-nationalist. He can't help the way he acts. It's in his nature. Even though Joe Biden is trying to help him out Bibi Netanyahu will betray Biden. And he did on multiple occasions by saying that the United States wasn't giving Israel weapons fast enough. and then the Biden administration scrambled to prove that it was. It was giving weapons to Israel as fast as possible. It's like, so Biden was the frog that carried Bibi Netanyahu's genocide. And what did Bibi Netanyahu do in return for Biden's assistance? Bibi Netanyahu just totally abused Biden and called him bad and lied about him. Yeah, and so Biden's presidency sank. So Harris has got to make the decision on if she recognizes that Bibi Netanyahu is a scorpion. He's literally working for the other team. He is not in favor of multiracial democracy. He's literally working for the other team. I mean, how do I know that the Israeli government is working for the other team? Remember this guy? This guy is named Gal Luft. You see, Gal Luft, that's his name. U.S.-Israeli analyst. This is U.S.-Israeli analyst charged in New York with being a covert China agent, arms dealing. Fugitive think tank head Gal Luft claims Biden administration trying to silence him over information he provided to the FBI showing U.S. president's family dealt with a Chinese company. In other words, the Republicans said that they had a guy who was going to prove that Joe Biden was a bad guy committing crimes. They had a guy that was going to testify and to prove that Joe Biden was committing crimes. The Republicans. That's why they were so certain that they could impeach Joe Biden, because they had this one guy who said he had all the information they needed in order to impeach Joe Biden, and they bought it. They bought it 100%. These Republicans. So you remember Comer trying to so he called up this guy to testify under oath in the one of the committees he works in, and this guy was going to spill the beans as to why they should impeach Joe Biden, and then they would do it. Well, it turns out that their guy that was going to spill the beans is two things. He's an Israeli and he's a Chinese agent. He works for China. In other words, the dude was a Chinese spy. The Israeli was working as a Chinese spy. And this Chinese spy, Israeli Chinese spy, was going to testify that the Biden administration was corrupt. To help who? To help the Republicans. So the Republicans were going to rely on the word of a Chinese spy in order to kick out the president, to impeach the president. In other words, they're doing the work of attacking the U.S. government. The Republicans were doing the work of attacking the U.S. government on behalf of China and Israel. Israel is not necessarily a friendly country. Just like Iraq under Saddam Hussein was not necessarily a friendly country. Because they're a dictatorship. But do we want to support dictatorships? I mean, if you want to be honest about it and say, yeah, sure, the United States is supporting an ethno-nationalistic state of apartheid. Yep. If they would be honest about it, maybe the protests would transform into something else. Why are we supporting an ethno-nationalist state that is hostile to us? Why? So Harris has got to figure out how she's going to have the relationship with Israel. I understand Iran needs a counterweight. You need to counteract Iran. I understand it's a good base of operations to combat ISIS. I understand, and ISIS is like turned into a proxy war because Syria is an ally, or Bashar Assad is an ally of Vladimir Putin. So the United States wants to kick out Bashar Assad. Like, oh God, my head. So, yeah. I don't know. You know, the Israelis, like, were like literally raping their detainees, right? They would pick up random Palestinian people, and then some of them would be raped. Men, women, children, didn't matter. Rape is not about sex. It's about power. So anyways, yeah, so like, why is the United States funding this? That's what I keep coming back to. Harris is gonna have to deal with that. Okay, what's the next thing on my deal here? I didn't even label these, man. Okay. So understand that Donald Trump is on the same team as Vladimir Putin. You have to understand that. And if Donald Trump is on the same team as Vladimir Putin, that means Republicans are on the same team as Vladimir Putin. Now, I say that, but like, what do I mean? I mean, like, they will, Donald Trump or and his Vice President Vance, J.D. Vance, neither one of them will talk bad about Russia. They will not talk bad about Russia. Donald Trump doesn't even talk bad about China. But he talks bad about but he'll talk bad about the United States. So here's an example. J.D. Vance signals that he's an enemy of NATO and he's on board with Russia. And I give you, like, I'll let him use his own words to show you.
Quickly before we go, I want to touch on foreign policy as well. Ukraine, you have been very vocal in saying, you know, the resources and the tax dollars that are going there, you have serious questions about whether the American people are being told the truth about Ukraine's ability to actually advance there. Now, we know there.
What do you mean, the truth about Ukraine's actual ability to advance there? Like, they have stopped Russia, dude. They stopped Russia from trying to overthrow their entire government and country. They did it. They did it. And now they're advancing, but they've had one hand tied behind their back this entire time because the arms and the weapons and the support has been very slow to come about. Just now, just recently, did Ukraine receive the F-16s that were promised 1 year ago. 1 year ago, they had to train the pilots, not so much the machines, it's the pilots. You got to know what you're doing to pilot an F-16, and it's nothing, I guess it's nothing like flying a MiG. I don't know, right? I don't know. But there's a lot of systems that you got to know. And so the training is intense. Super amounts of training. I mean, you're flying like a multi-million-dollar machine. Like an instrument of like one of the best instruments of war. Like, yeah, you need training. So it took like a year of training to get the Ukrainian pilots ready for these F-16s. So like, yeah, of course. And here's the thing: it's not like it's costing us anything, right? This is all old stuff that we're getting rid of. That if we didn't get rid of it, if we didn't like give it to someone else, we would have to pay the money to destroy it. And then when you destroy it, it creates a lot of environmental impacts. So you have to pay the money to negate those or mitigate those environmental impacts. So it's really expensive to just let old stuff go to waste. It's far better to donate, to give away this old stuff that you're gonna get rid of anyways. Give it to Ukraine so they can actually use it. So you do two things: you save yourself the cost of disposal and the cost of cleanup, and you create goodwill with your ally, Ukraine. The Ukrainian people are gonna be really, really supportive of the United States in the future. And supportive countries want to do business with us. Those are business opportunities that you can arrange now that you have a good, a stable trading partner that really, really, really likes you. I mean, look at Japan, dude. We built up Japan. Well, I wouldn't say we, but we helped to create conditions where Japan could become like the second biggest economy in the world after the United States. This was back in the 80s. It's not right now. But in the 80s, Japan was the biggest economy, or the second biggest economy in the world. Like, right? It's great to have great trade. It's awesome. Trade. What I'm trying to say is trade is amazing. You want to have good relationships with your trading partners, to have good trade. Like, that's basic, right? So it's not costing the United States people anything. In fact, we're saving money, and we're creating a future business partner whereby we will both prosper. We will both make money. Like, it's fantastic. It's a great deal. Spreading democracy like like that is like the best way to do it. Not with our own people, with our own like top-notch stuff going across the world and trying to impose it on people. No, help out the people who already want it and who are already doing stuff to get it, the freedom, and then help them out. Like, that's like the best way of doing it. So anyways, so the key I want you to notice here is that right now Russia, our enemy, is attacking Ukraine, our ally. Like, what will J.D. Vance say about that? Nothing. He redirects. This is called a matrix dodge. What the reporter did was fire a bullet / question. It's a question. It went straight to the heart of J.D. Vance's stance, right? It was like, let's make very clear what you think about the Ukraine-Russia situation. Please make very clear. That's the question. It went straight to the heart. It was a bullet aimed straight at the heart of J.D. Vance's position. And then J.D. Vance is going to do a matrix dodge. He's going to bend in unnatural ways with super speed so that the question is never addressed. Like, I can do it now because I can stop and pause his deal and focus upon it. But it's really, really hard to do when it's like in real time, and it's couched within like the hours and hours of stuff before and afterwards. Like, it's a lot of stuff to parse through. So we can only do this now because we have the power of pausing and stopping. But listen to that. Watch how he dodges. The question is, what's your position on Ukraine vis-a-vis Russia? And look how J.D. Vance dodges.
All kinds of reports this week. They've actually advanced into Russia. They're taking prisoners. They're taking territory. So has your view on that changed at all? And what about Senator Coons' assertion that you and President Trump aren't going to be faithful to NATO, that you and President Trump...
Go back. So take a look at this map. This is the incursion. This is the incursion, the Russian incursion. This side's Ukraine. This side's Russia. And... Ukraine is basically just walked in and said, "This is ours now," and they're setting up a military office to recruit the local people to fight against Russia. Like, first time, dude. This is the first time that Russia's been invaded. So it looks like the Ukrainians are going to push toward this Russian city, Kursk. And that's a major hub for logistics that sends goods and supplies down this highway, and I guess there's a rail line too, down to the troops further south, the Russian troops that are trying to invade Russia or invade Ukraine. So pretty baller, dude. Pretty baller. It's pretty good. So it's happening. What I'm saying is happening. So we see that things are going great for the Ukrainians, our allies. What do you think about that, J.D. Vance?
That changed it all. And what about Senator Coons' assertion that you and President Trump aren't going to be faithful to NATO, you're not going to be faithful to foreign policy alliances, and that allies shouldn't be able to count on you?
So did you hear that question? He's saying that you guys are going to ditch NATO, that allies can't trust the Trump administration, and that, yeah, what do you say about, and that you can't be trusted? What do you say about that?
Well, what Chris Coons is saying, look, I like and respect Chris, but he's just wrong here.
Yeah, whatever, dude, whatever. So tell us, so are you going to be faithful to NATO? Can our allies trust you? So let's see what he says.
Donald Trump and I have said is that there shouldn't be a free lunch for Europe or anybody else. America is not the policeman of the world, and NATO should be a military alliance where Germany.
So he's like, so if you think that I'm not going to be faithful to NATO, let me tell you why NATO sucks. You see what J.D. Vance did? Do you see what he did? He was tasked. He was said, like, can the allies trust you? To fulfill your obligations? And the first thing he does is attack NATO. He's like, let me tell you why NATO sucks. Watch him.
Germany, France, and all these other countries pay their fair share rather than relying on American taxpayers to subsidize their defense.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's look at the NATO defense budget. We can check that, right? We can check it. Let's see. I gotta put that above the other one. In Fran View. Media player. Well, here, I'm just gonna drag it. We can check that, right? Let's check it. So here's there's no like maximum or whatever that you have to have, or minimum that you have to have for NATO to be in NATO. There's no law, there's no nothing. It's just a guideline. Just a guide. That's it. You can invest more, you can invest less, but the guideline is 2% of GDP. So we see here on this check, on this chart in 2024, this year, Poland and Estonia actually spend more money per GDP on their military than the United States. And the United States spends a ridiculous amount of money on its military. And then you got the rest of these countries, Latvia, Greece, everybody spending above 2%, right? Everybody. It's not till you get down to the bottom, like France, Germany. Like you can see here, all the countries he named are all paying the 2% guidelines. They're all paying 2%. So he's lying. He was asked, can NATO allies trust you? And the first thing J.D. Vance does is he attacks NATO and he makes up lies about the spending. The only ones not spending the full 2% is Slovakia, which is exactly 2%, right? Then Croatia, then you got Portugal and Italy, and then Canada, and then the tiny ass Belgium, tiny ass Luxembourg, and then Spain. Dude, Spain. But still, like, this is hardly anybody, right? These guys, these are not big countries. Like Belgium and Luxembourg, not a big country, dude. They're like, no matter what, they weren't going to be a giant contribution to NATO anyways, right? But like, so if he would have called out, if he would have been Canada, Italy, Luxembourg, if J.D. Vance would have said that, maybe he would have had a point. But he didn't. Who did J.D. Vance say? Who did he call out? Let's go back. Who did he call out?
And all these other countries.
What other countries?
America is not the policeman of the world, and NATO should be a military alliance where Germany, France, and all these other countries. So Germany and France, those are the ones he said, right? Germany is paying 2.12%. You got France paying 2.6%. So he's calling out the wrong people. He's making up lies and talking shit about NATO. He was asked to reaffirm his commitment to NATO, and instead he attacked NATO.
That tells you right there. That's a matrix dodge. Do you see how it's just dodging out of the way of the question? That he won't answer the question? Because the question, by not answering the question, he's answered it for you. He's telling you, yeah, dude, the Trumps are not on board with NATO. We will attack NATO. We will fuck with NATO. That's exactly what he's telling you. Exactly what he's telling you.
Pay their fair share rather than relying on American taxpayers to subsidize their defense so they can have generous welfare states while American veterans are sleeping under park benches. It's ridiculous, Shannon. We want NATO to be a...
You know, why don't, you know, the thing is that Germany and France are already paying the NATO guideline. They're doing their duty. They're doing their part. And yet they have way more paternal leave, way more sick leave. They have way more days off, way more holidays, way better pension, way more rights for labor, and they have socialized medicine. Their healthcare is great, dude. So I have personal experience with the French healthcare system, but this is back in 1997, before the EU. But still, it's still relevant, right? So, like, it's taken all this time and we still don't have universal healthcare in the United States. That's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. But when I lived in France, it cost me $20 to go to the doctor. And my medications my prescriptions were another $20. Like, super cheap. A guy in my program ended up he got really, really sick while he was in France, like really sick. So they took him to the hospital. They did a CAT scan of his intestines. They found he had a tumor, a fucking tumor. He was in his 20s, man. They had a tumor growing inside of his intestine, and it grew in so big it had almost basically blocked off his whole intestine, like, so nothing could pass. So it was like emergency. So they did emergency surgery to remove the intestine, or remove the tumor. I don't know how they did proceed, but they removed the cancer, and then the kid was in the hospital for 2 weeks. That whole thing cost him like $200. Can you imagine emergency cancer surgery and 2 weeks stay in a hospital? What that would cost you in the United States? Holy shit, dudes. Holy shit. So when he says that when J.D. Vance says, oh, America's expenditure on NATO is the reason why the United States can't have socialized medicine, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. You're bullshitting. France and Germany have socialized medicine, and they're making their NATO payments just fine. Just fine. You're bullshitting, J.D. Vance. See, J.D. Vance is telling lie after lie after lie about NATO. Why? Why, J.D. Vance? Why is the Trump administration so hostile to NATO? Oh, that's right, because it's so friendly with Russia, with the dictatorships. The Republican Party is now a pro-dictatorship party. Don't you know that? Didn't you know that? Yes, the Republican Party, as it exists today in 2024, is pro-dictatorship. It's all about dictatorship. Remember, Donald Trump promised to be a dictator on day one. And these guys, they're Trump supporters, are all about it. They want to overthrow democracy. It's clear, dude, they want to overthrow democracy. And like, they've already tried, right? Everyone knows they already tried. They already tried to overthrow democracy. And you can tell that they want to do it again. It's clear that they want to do it again. That you remember these scenes? These are all from the last time that Donald Trump lost an election. So when they say that they want Donald Trump to be dictator on day one, they're not joking. They're not lying. They're not being silly. They actually believe it. They actually want it. They want Donald Trump to overthrow the Constitution. So, in other words, they're Confederates. right? I mean, can I make it any clearer? Come on, come on. What else do I got here? I don't know what half the stuff is. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. If Vance is so fixated on who has kids, he must support pro-family policies, right? Like a living wage, parental leave, child tax credit, affordable housing, guaranteed health care, universal child care. Oh, right. Yeah, no. J.D. Vance doesn't support any of that. He only wants an excuse to surveil and subjugate women. Right? J.D. Vance is a fucking liar. He's a liar. Like, he's lying about NATO. He's lying about Americans. He's lying about our allies. He's doing all of this, and all of this helps it helps two groups. There's two countries that benefit from the lies that J.D. Vance tells. One country is called Russia, because Russia doesn't like NATO either. So the Trump administration and Russia are teaming up against NATO because both the Russians and the Trump administration believe in dictatorship, not democracy. There's a second group, or second country, that also benefits from the lies that J.D. Vance tells about NATO and about Americans, and that's China. Because China wants to tell the world that democracy can't work, that democracy is no good, that humans are not able to govern themselves. China wants to tell their people and tell everyone else, humans need a strong leader above them to tell them what to do. If they don't have a strong leader above them to tell them what to do, then they'll be lost. So China wants democracy to be discredited, so that the Chinese people don't ever want democracy. Remember, they tried. The Chinese people tried to have democracy. Tiananmen Square in 1989, the people gathered in the square to demand that their government represent them, to represent the people, and that they have a say in government, that it's not just handed down to them. And do you know what the Chinese government did? They sent in tanks to literally run over people, civilians, with tanks, and turn them into like fucking putty, like meat putty on the ground, on the pavement. Like, there's pictures of it. You probably haven't seen it, and I'm afraid to show it because I might get like dinged by YouTube. But yeah, dudes, the Chinese government literally sent tanks to run over people, unarmed protesters, just people demonstrating, gathering, assembling in one spot to ask for representation in government, and the Chinese government ran them over with tanks. So yeah, China loves it when J.D. Vance lies about democracy and about the allies, because democracy is the thing that China hates. Democracy is the thing that Russia hates. Democracy is the thing that the Republicans hate. Do you see what I mean? It all ties together. It all ties together. Keep talking, J.D. Vance, fucker, weirdo.
Real alliance, and the way that it's going to be a real alliance is for Europe to pay up, to do what's necessary, and to allow us to focus on the most pressing foreign policy challenge.
So the thing is that he's trying to deflect away from Russia. He's saying, "Oh yeah." First of all, he was asked, "Can the allies count on you?" And the only thing he said was, "Let me talk shit about Russia, or about NATO." That's all he did. He lied about NATO. That's all he did. And now he's going to deflect to China. But remember, the Republicans are not like anti-China. They were going to use a Chinese agent to attack the American government. So they're not anti-China.
We have had in nearly a century, and that is China. And that is what Donald Trump and I are going to focus on.
So, can you believe him when the Republicans tried to use a Chinese spy to take down the American government? Can you believe him? No, dude. He was asked specifically about Russia, and he would not answer it. He attacked NATO, and then he started talking about China. He attacked NATO, lied about NATO, and then switched to China, and now it's going to lie about China.
Rebuilding American factories, bringing more manufacturing jobs back to this country.
Okay, so wait a minute. Let me do a fact check here. So here's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. While Donald Trump has been president, when he was president, it was down here. Now it's up here. It's like doubled. Man, I can kick myself. I could kick myself for not putting money into the stock market like 20 years ago. I feel so stupid. I feel real dumb that I didn't put money in the stock market and just left it there and forgot about it when I was like in my 20s. Like, of course, you have to have money to do that. If you don't have food or shelter or a job, yeah, it's real hard to make money. But if you put any money in the stock market and just leave it there. Now, I'm not talking about like individual stock or whatever. I mean like an index fund. One that's pegged more or less to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. If you just peg it to the Dow, you would have made so much money. I feel so dumb not doing it 20 years ago. Like, I should even do it now. I haven't even done it now. But yeah, look at this. Donald Trump, because he fucked up COVID, he crashed the American economy and the world economy. And now we're up here. So when J.D. Vance says he's going to bring back manufacturing and bring back all this stuff, he's fucking lying again. Because our economy was dying under Donald Trump. It's ridiculous, dude. He's such a liar. J.D. Vance is such a liar.
Not allowing the Chinese to build their middle class on the backs of ours. And importantly, if we do that, we will be in a better position to stand up to China for the next 50 years in this country. That is...
I can't believe you. I can't believe J.D. Vance. I don't think the Republicans are really that concerned about it. Especially when Donald Trump praises their leader, Chairman Xi.
This is what we've got to focus on, and that's...
Yeah, fuck you. So... you cannot trust the Republicans. J.D. Vance. You can't trust Donald Trump. He's absolutely on Team Russia. Nothing has changed since 2016. He's still on Team Russia. But the problem is now, something has changed since 2016. Since recently, Donald Trump has been losing his mind. Did you hear how he talked at the last press conference? Listen to him.
We're talking about a thing called the economy. They wanted to do a speech on the economy. A lot of people are very devastated by what's happened with inflation and all of the other things. So we're doing this as a intellectual speech. You're all intellectuals today.
What's he talking about?
We're doing it, and we're doing it right now, and it's very important. They say it's the most important.
Why is it so important? They're doing it right now. What is it? What is it? Who's they say it's the most important? You can see what he's doing is that he's just running through his one-liners, his fillers. All he's doing is filling. He's just filling empty time. It's weird. You're watching him do his speech, his spiel, though, because it's all memorized and it's reflexive. He's just trying to manipulate the audience, and so if you just listen to it, but it's it's so old, it hasn't been refreshed, so it's just stale now. Listen, he's just talking gibberish.
We're talking about a thing called the economy. They wanted to do a speech on the economy. A lot of people are very devastated by what's happened with inflation and all of the other things. So we're doing this as a intellectual speech. You're all intellectuals today. Today we're doing it, and we're doing it right now, and it's very important. They say it's the most important subject. I think crime is right there. I think the border is right there. Personally, We have a lot of important subjects because our country has become a third world nation. We literally, the economy.
Now,
they wanted to do a speech on the economy.
now
a lot of people are
listen, he's going to start talking shit about the United
devastated by
States.
what's happened with inflation and all of the other things. So we're doing this as a.
So he's negging the United
speech. You're all
States.
intellectuals today. Today we're doing it, and we're doing it right now, and it's very important. They say it's the most important subject. I think crime is right there. I think the border is right there, personally. We have a lot of important subjects because our country has become a third world nation. We literally are a third world nation. We're a banana republic in so many ways, and we're not going to let that happen because we're starting a free fall.
So he's just talking shit about, like, he spent like a minute just talking nothing. He's like, very important things. You're all intellectuals. This is, many people say very important things. The United States is so bad. He's like, it's so bad here. It's so bad. Like, what are you doing, dude? Do you know what negging is? Negging is a way of breaking someone's image, self-image. It's a way. It's a way of. So, it's not supposed to be like negative. It's supposed to be neutral, which is slow enough to be disarming, so that it feeds off of the insecurity of the recipient of the negative statement, or not the neutral statement. Whereas the person is expecting some kind of positive statement, instead they get a neutral statement, and then that causes them to doubt whether their positive presentation is indeed positive. So it lowers their resistance, I suppose, is a way of putting it. So Donald Trump is using this technique. He negs the United States to make it feel bad, and then implants suggestions that he's the savior and he could save the United States. But he has to first neg it to make it feel bad. He doesn't even use neutral statements. He uses negative statements. Like, he straight up is negative about the United States, like an abuser. He talks like an abuser.
But from today and from the day I take the oath of office, we will rapidly drive prices down.
See, now he's reading his teleprompter. See how his speech got more like on like a target and a task, but then his speech got monotone because he's reading off a teleprompter now. Just watch his body.
And make is we're talking about.
Anyways, all right. Yeah, when he riffs. When he's just riffing on his own, his brain is mush. You can see it, and he defaults to his predator, abuser language style of negging someone, and then painting himself as the one that can fix everything. Yup. He's a bad guy. He talks like an abuser. Like, that's what else do I got here? Inflation. This is an inflation chart. So what this chart shows you is that in January 2021 in the United States, inflation went sky high, dude. It went to like 6%. It was higher than all the other nations. Italy, UK, Germany, Euro area, France, Canada, Japan. It was higher than everybody else in April, July 2021. And then it leveled off for a second. And then it crept back up. And it peaked in July of 2022. And since then, inflation's been falling. I don't know when they kicked on they jacked up the interest rates. But yeah, it's been falling ever since, and now it's at like the lowest level it's been in a long time. So I don't know what, but now the United States has the lowest inflation of all these other nations: Italy, UK, Germany, France, Canada, Japan, and the Euro area. Yeah, so it used to have the highest inflation. Now it's got the lowest inflation. Fact check. Trump falsely accuses Harris and Biden of lying about $35 insulin. Trump, quote, $35 insulin! I did that! I did the insulin! Fact check. This is a blatant lie. Trump did not cap insulin costs. Biden-Harris did for seniors through the Inflation Reduction Act. Trump's Project 2025 wants to repeal it, which would raise insulin costs for over a million Americans. The Hill says, while the Trump administration implemented a temporary program under which some Medicare drug plans could voluntarily cap the cost of insulin, it was the Inflation Reduction Act, signed into law by President Biden, that barred such plans from charging above $35 a month. So it was Biden, not Trump. Lies from the Trump campaign. Lies. That's all they have are lies. But remember, the truth doesn't matter to the followers of Donald Trump. They want a dictatorship. So to them, the only thing that matters is power. I mean, they've gone back to the king, in other words. A king is the same thing. Who has the power? And how do you find out? Through violence. That's why we fucking left that. That's why we left all that nonsense. Because there's no mechanism to transfer power. It's always violent. Whereas in a democracy, we had an uninterrupted transfer of power for like over 100 years. Until Donald Trump broke it. Yeah, we need Harris to be a transformational president. I think it's time for the United States to crack out of its cocoon. To molt. We're gonna molt. So why do we have inflation? Well, all the food, these companies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. These 11 companies control all these brands. So it's a monopoly of 11 companies that control the food supply in the United States. I mean, look at Coca-Cola. Horner. I can't even read all this stuff. But yeah, a lot of our food products are controlled by one corporation, and they have different labels for them. So it might help to break up our food supply so that the mega corporations don't control everything. Okay. I think that will do it for me. It's important that you get people out to vote. It's important to check your registration. Republicans will try to unregister people. Like, frequently. So if you live in a state controlled by Republicans and you're a Democrat, frequently check your voter registration status. They're trying to purge everyone, all the Democrats off the rolls. So guard your voting status. Okay, until next time, America. Peace. Pogo Kiddo out. Stop.